Okay, we're back. Welcome back. I have the beast blood. Welcome to you as well. I know that's not a whole lot of a recap for you, but all of 2 minutes before you showed up, I had just gone through a more detailed recap of the story and the people we've learned about so far. But this tree, this family tree, if you poke through it, you'll notice that most people in this family did not live to a ripe old age, only a few of them. But the family had left their house abruptly some years before, and Edith is back, having inherited the house. She's exploring and learning and uncovering. Thank you, Sea Star. RZD, you wish you could have seen Calvin's demise. Well, I'm not sure I'll be highlighting anything from this, but it might be worth poking through the VOD to see. That one made quite an impression on me. But then again, so did Sam's. Calvin's and Sam's. And Walter's. Oof.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
So Dawn, Sam's daughter Dawn, Edith's mother, Dawn, and Edie would have been Dawn's grandmother. Got close after Sam died. Light control. Finch control. Edie, well, hold on. You said great-grandmother, but depends on who we're talking about. She was someone's grandmother and someone's great-grandmother. Edie was Edith's great-grandmother, but Edie was Dawn's grandmother, right? Edie and Sven arrived with baby Molly, but it looks like they also had Barbara, Calvin, and Sam. Sam, I think, married Kay, if that's what it's trying to show. Dawn was Sam's child. And Edith is Dawn's child. Oh, there you go, RZD. Great-grandmother to Edith. Grandmother to Dawn. Mother to Sam. Sea Star, you've got to get to bed. You might lurk a short while, but you need to watch the ending then from the VOD. Really excellently made game. Yes, it is. Thank you. Says enjoy all. And you sleep well, Sea Star. Sweet dreams. We'll see you tomorrow, I hope. The house is full of crawl spaces and secret passages, hidden doors, and things that have been locked away. And this, you can see, the door there is sealed. Like so many rooms in this house, the door is sealed. Ah, a pole from up there in the loft. Manny, this game was the reason you bought Ethan Carter, but you don't like it as much so far. You have a crib for Gregory. Oh boy, is that how we're going to find each of the wood cuttings with a painting to immortalize them on it. It seems Edie painted. Great-grandmother Edie painted. That's when we learn about their fate. So before we click on that, I want to look around the room. Sam is the one who joined the Marines. The wartime photographer. Gus. Dawn. Gregory. So we'll get two. Looks like we'll get two stories in here. Gregory and Gus. Seems I can't just shimmy up the pole, but I imagine we'll end up there at some point. Or maybe I can. No. Grab the pole. Arata Wataya. Keep in mind, this is a blind playthrough. We don't want to know answers to anything that we don't know yet. Please don't tell us about Dawn. I don't know if you're just making a comment that the bed is missing. But, please don't overshare. Otherwise, hello and welcome. Jay, have you ever tried to shimmy up a pole at 22 weeks pregnant? I admit I have not. Oh, okay.
My mom moved up to the loft after her.
Maybe not
died.
shimmy up a pole, but okay.
At the
Arata,
time,
just making
it was
sure.
As far away as she could get.
Well, we're not going to go up quite yet. We're going to look at the kids. And a routine. Sam's routine. Raise flag 7:30, breakfast at 8, quiet time 11 p.m. Duties. Dawn, sweep and trash. Gus, mop and mow the yard. Greg, be a baby. Yeah, there you go, Rango. Take back your statement, for she can rock climb at 22 weeks pregnant. Routines. Jump rope 100 times. Jumping jacks 150 of those. 100 push-ups, 100 crunches. Run to the mailbox and back. Yeah, it sounds like something a Marine would have for a workout routine. House rules. No playing outside without permission. No answering door for strangers. No messes after dark. All chores before dark. Respect others. And there's a light switch for each of the children. An emergency evacuation plan. Kay and Sam Finch. The marriage of divorce contract.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it.
Oh, we get to be baby Gregory.
I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
He's conducting the duck with the frog. Oh, I'm the frog. What?
Time's over, Gregory. It's time to... Hold on, sweetie. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw.
What have they been feeding this kid?
He reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination.
What?
Whatever it was, he saw.
This is awesome. Oh, how creative is this?
It sure made him happy.
Oh, man. Ha ha! I think he's been licking his frog. Gregory! Ha! There was an achievement for that. This is so wild. Oh no.
I know how silly it sounds. But I worried about a baby being too happy. But I could feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Damn it. Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
Oh no, that's what I was afraid of.
I wish he could have told us about the world he saw. There's so much I don't understand about Gregory. About everything. But I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy.
Oh my god.
And he'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
This game, it lifts you up then slams you down hard. It does at that.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
Poem for Gus.
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard.
Father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said, with teenage disregard, that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. Oh! Oh! Wow. TYB, thank you for the host. What does it say? Oh, we can turn the words around.
father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart.
Wow.
I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom, were the words that I
now
remember.
pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
These scenes are really something. There's the totem pole. Well, seems like something not trigger here. And those words be swept away and did I miss something before they all turned white and she spoke? I don't see any other words floating. Something's supposed to trigger, I wonder. Totem pole. Okay. Oh, there. Thank you. Thank you.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger. The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
Oh, I think the kite is starting to pick things up.
The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the
Hi, Bailey.
music louder." I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
You got left out in the storm. You wouldn't come to take the picture.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
To get struck by lightning, flying a kite in the storm, maybe. That's what it seems like. That was beautiful with the kite and the words. A little obscured for me in the telling, but there's his kite. I already saw that we could climb up over here. Remember, she's 22 weeks pregnant. You should be careful climbing like that. I've already been up on the roof. And dawn We were told that Dawn came up here.
Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot.
KG, thank you for the host. It helped her. College application deadlines. Fly to India. 10 ways to teach critical thinking. Boy, there's a book our world needs. For the homeschool student and teacher. Okay, KG, just throwing a quick host before you go to bed. Alright. Sleep well. Thank you for the host. I'm dropping in. Sanjay. Well, maybe that's... Yeah, there you go in the picture. That's where she met Sanjay. Dawn. Sanjay. Sanjay on the detached leaf, married into the family. I think Sanjay would be the father of Lewis, Milton, and Edith. Thank you. Thank you, KG.
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
Rank goes. Hello. Orcas Island High School. Don't forget, visa application, background check. Anything else? So much detail. Relieve, provide, sustain. I think we're about to head up. Asked about the upper levels.
A week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Lewis was born a year later.
My first thought from a distance was that looked almost like an observatory. From another point, it looked sort of like a water tower. Not sure what that is, but I think we'll get there.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back.
So Dawn came home after her husband died. Made gardens for each of her children. Edith, Milton, Lewis. Mint, thyme, sage, basil.
And to see kids in the house again.
So Dawn came back to the family home after her husband died and brought her kids. Dawn, and one for herself.
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that.
Is that why they built on it? Who decided they should build this way? And go up and out like a tower? Is the old house out in the water? Sunk out in the water?
And for a while, things were good. Almost normal.
Kids were homeschooled here. Guess this was their classroom. Multiplication tables. Family history, fact or fiction. Oh, can we read those? No. Lewis rules. Reading is a hoot. We had a poster like that back in school.
But it didn't last.
Odin Finch by Edith Finch. The myth. The curse. The house sinking beneath the waves. History. And the monument. Classification of living things. Scientific method, observation, question, research, hypothesis, experiment, data, and conclusion. Relief efforts end in disaster. Hundreds of relief volunteers are injured or dead after the effects of a second earthquake. Earthquake. Wonder if an earthquake caused the waves that swamped the house. Can't read a date off of that. That's how you remember the classification tree for school. Right, go. King Philip came over for good sex. King Philip came over for good sex. Jeez. I have not heard that one. That looks like Sanjay in the pic above. Ah, yeah, okay. So this could be in Calcutta. They could be talking about Calcutta, an earthquake in Calcutta. That looks like it's a little taller, but it looks a lot like the 932, 936C old HP inkjet printers. I still have a 932C sitting in my garage somewhere. It looks a lot like that. Seven Ways to Create a Fulfilling Classroom to Teach and to Learn by Dawn Finch. So she didn't just homeschool a kid. She wrote a book on homeschooling, at least one book on homeschooling.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
Edie gave Milton a castle. I guess that's what that is. It's Milton's castle. So we're down to 4. Dawn, Lewis, Milton, and Edie. It did look a little like that. Tyler, you're right. The laptop looked a little bit like newer HP slates, which come in different colors, right? Doesn't look sketchy at all. What are you talking about, Chronic? What was he painting? A door? But that door? Locked in, was he? That looked a little odd. Bamboo. Milton with crown. Drawings, paintings. Oils. Paint with oils. can't tell from the tubes, but palette looks might be oil. The magic paintbrush. Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Oh, is that a flip book? Achoo! Oh my god, this is cool. Speed it up and slow it down. Painted the door, opened it, walks through. And disappeared. What?
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
Well, we know that he had disappeared. Yeah. Guess we can't learn of his death if no one in the family knew. He knows that he disappeared.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
Ah, Unfinished Swan. Same development group did that, right? You said this room is an Easter egg for Unfinished Swan game. Is that why the black and white, the sketches and things looked sort of familiar? I've not played Unfinished Swan, but I have seen some of the still art. Maybe just logos and names and a couple things. Oh, that's very cool.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out. And now we climb. Jeez, who would build like that? Who would go up in that? That's some Swiss Family Robinson stuff right there. If you're stranded on an island, okay, you build what you can, but there had to be a safer way to make additions on the house.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Louis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
So it was Louis who worked at the cannery, bringing home canned salmon more than anyone was willing to eat, except for the cat, named after Molly. They're cool places to sit. Look at that. Those swing chairs. All the way up here. What a view. Well, there's a reason to build up so you can sit out here. Look out over the water. They built the boat into the expansion on the house. A curious place. Hookah on the
Louis's
table.
room smelled very, very familiar.
Very familiar.
That part of him lived on.
Huh. San Juan Ale. Legalize marijuana. Day glow posters and a black light. Video games. Chronic approves. I'm shocked, I tell you. Shocked! Chronic, I like your room, man. The Wonderland Turbo. An awful lot like a PlayStation 1 with those round buttons and that style of plugs in the memory cards. Awfully PS1. High school diploma, Lewis Finch. Stuff's been sitting there a long time. Might want to go for something fresher. Theodore's Quality Cigars. Rango. Fuck those memory cards. They broke my SpongeBob save. Still not over that. When my PlayStation 1 was wearing out and wouldn't play games anymore without turning it upside down, which for some reason did work. I don't know why that would work. But I had a buddy who wanted to buy it. He bought my old PS1 for I don't know what, and he used it for a year. Upside down. Put games in, turn it upside down, and it would play. Wish I still had it.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
Died a lot. Only one time that counts.
He was so proud of being Indian. I think for him, it was a way to be something other than just a Finch.
Nice tie-dye on the ceiling. Extra lives. Cheat code kings. Making games with C++. Spindle of blank CDs. Beer, pills, ashtray. And a dual monitor setup. Lewis Finch, locker contents. A letter addressed to Dawn.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life.
Oh man, he worked at the cannery.
He kept working at the cannery.
A little repetitive stress disorder.
But he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior.
Line hypnosis.
His mind began to...
Mind
Wonder.
began to... Oh! Oh!
I asked him to describe it.
Oh, wow. You're controlling this guy with the left and the hand... Oh, man.
He said
This
he
is so
started
creative. How good are you at
Imagining another
multitasking?
one. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads.
This is
And
mind
things
blowing.
that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Louis Tobia.
Louis
He built the
Tobia.
city up slowly, brick by brick.
This is awesome.
Then he made musicians.
Who thought
and
of
songs
this?
for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery.
Daydreamed. Either mercenary.
But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him.
Whoa!
He'd conquer a city.
see how we
and
got
immediately push
distracted.
on. New Louisville. St. Louis.
St. Louis.
He started drifting away from our reality.
The Dragoon.
Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on.
They're pleading. All he sees is his
In Louisville,
fantasy.
he heard rumors of a
Beautiful prince or a handsome queen.
handsome queen.
Huh. Hey, Claire.
The queen was on her own quest for
Sinister serpents or radiant rainbows? Serpents. Hey, whoop.
sinister serpents.
Choose your own adventure. Yeah, I caught that, Manny.
He followed
Oh!
the sound of her
Sitar.
electric sitar. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound.
This is so wild.
He knew the world was all in his imagination.
Oh my god. He's getting backlogged. How will he keep up? How will he keep it all straight?
He was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
Wow.
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Oh, nice find, Lance. Hey, mercenary Claire, anyone just get in here? Sorry I didn't answer you directly, but that sequence was playing out. I was actually having to control the fish cutting hand with one stick and control Lewis walking through his imagination with the other. So I was sort of occupied and distracted and focused. That was wild. Claire asked what you're playing. It's What Remains of Edith Finch, a narrative adventure, a story of a cursed family. Edith explores her old family home. She's discovering what became of everyone in the family. Dragoon, you just started the original Mass Effect. How are you liking that? Playing that? Why not cut up that instead? Well, we actually got to play an octopus at one point before. I got to reach out my tentacles and pull myself forward. So he worked at the cannery, cutting off fish heads, but he lived in his imagination, in the worlds of his own creation. Are you going to adopt that way of movement for yourself? I shall endeavor to find a safer way to multitask in my life. Oh, of course, that's his locker. Dayglow, hookahs, and pot leaves. Imperial Palace, Orca's Island. Order today. Chinese food.
He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
In his own imagination, it pained him to remember his real life. That he was actually working at the cannery.
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
He's just standing there going through the motions.
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him.
Dogs. How you doing?
There was only one thing left to do.
Crown, the guillotine.
Bend down his head. And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Wow.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Jeez. Hey, Entropic, brother. Hot dogs, you've played this. It's spinning my head right round. All we have left is Dawn and Edie. Lost his head. Wow. This is unreal, yeah. Back down? No? Yes. Okay. Up and up we go. Ooh. don't know about that. Is there another way up? Well, we're gonna have to find another way up. Edith can't just jump. Remember, she's 22 weeks pregnant.
Everyone always told me to stay out of Lewis's room.
Been
Except
forgetting.
Lewis.
Been forgetting to peer through the keyholes. Wait, what was the exit sign in there? Was there another way out of Lewis's room? There is. Is there another way out? I missed it. Let's see. Yeah, I didn't see it at all until I peered through. Somehow, it's right there on the left.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie.
There are signs around the house of packing, although by no means was the house all packed up, ready to go.
I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
But some stuff was packed. Packed and left behind. Open boxes, labeled. Oh, it's a lot of missing posters. Milton,
Wish we'd stayed.
who had gone missing 7 years before they left the house. Dawn never gave up hope.
But I understand why we left.
Loving memory of Lewis Finch.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
Copies of the book to teach and to learn that she had written about homeschooling. O God, you have called your servants to ventures of which we cannot see the ending, by paths as yet untrodden, through perils unknown. Give us faith to go out with good courage, not knowing where we go, but only that your hand is leading us, and your love supporting us, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Every once in a while I say something on stream I never thought I'd say on stream. Perhaps even off. Happy 90th birthday. Disaster relief. Sanjay.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
Atom Bomb, you said go back. Was that before, was that to find the door out of Lewis's, or was that something else? I just now saw you say go back, but I don't know when that was. Is there something I should go back for even now? Or was that from before? Okay. Thank you.
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
Last night, we don't know what happened to Dawn, Edith's mother. We don't know what happened to Edie, her namesake and great-grandmother. Family matriarch, if you will. Papier-mâché Finch house with all the expansions. On Death and Dying. It's the title of the book under that. Is it? Lamp? It does indeed, hot dogs, bring a somber mood. It will leave quite an impression as well. Norwegian folk tales. Frog, the deer, little bit of everybody here in paper mache. Norsk. Quill pen.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Not that mug. Not that mug. I got a drink out of that mug.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance.
Oh.
Or that Edie had a key to it.
Different knitted gloves. The Book of Sand, the Aleph Labyrinths, the King in Yellow, Swedish folk tales, Norse myths, 51 tales, the Book of Wonder, the Library of Babel.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
The mysteries of death and the afterlife. Spirit among us, east of the sun and west of the moon. History of the Finches by Edith Finch.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out.
RCD, I'm glad you could join us today. I'm sorry I did not bring the ending just a little bit sooner. You have to miss it to head to work, but you'll watch the end of the VOD, right? I think this one will be worth it. That night the tide went way, way out. Introbot, you don't get to leave.
Last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean.
Not Calcutta. Tide went way out, making a path to the old house.
The lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. For a while, I wandered. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot.
Bob.
We both tried to make the best of it.
There we go.
few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot.
Wow.
The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it.
Is her child being
I just
born?
want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
She died January after coming back to visit the house. For Shirley Dallas. Dallas. Creative Director Joshua Sarfate. Technical Director Chelsea Hash. Lead Technical Artist Brandon Martinowitz. Lead Artist Chris Bell. Lead Designer Michael Kwan, Technical Designer. Evan Rogers, Gameplay Programmer. Dan Hollingsworth, Engineer. These are great credits. Thomas Hun, Animator. Sam Rosenthal, Technical Designer. Jonathan Hamel, Designer, Programmer. John Quang, Programmer. Johan Lee, Audio and Unlockables Programmer. Corey Davis, Environment Artist. Greg Pryor, Environment Artist. Kristen Altamirano, Environment Artist. Theo Aretos, Concept Artist. Dan Valvo, Character Artist. Ollie Rothrock, the Artist. Alvin Nelson, Producer. Michael Fallick, Producer. EBA Bob, good choice. Thank you, man. Steve Green, Lead Sound Designer. Jeff Russo, Composer. Good job. Eduardo Ortiz Frau, additional sound design. Andrew Odella, QA lead. Ben Esposito, design consultant. Keith Guaret, additional effects, visual effects. Melissa Fuss, additional rigging. Avieni, additional animation. Erica Pinto, animation. G Key, additional programming. Tom Bissell, writing. Annapurna Interactive. Megan Ellison. Nathan Gary. Wilhelm Bajani. Jeff Legaspi. Jordan Marks. Deborah Mars. James Massey. Hector Sanchez. And a lot of playtesters. Druckmann's in there. Special thanks. Trick or treat, smell my feet. The Edith Finch team. I worked on that for 5 years, huh? The end. That was quite a game. Not played a game like it before. Yeah, hot dogs. We can all thank DBA Bob for choosing that one. Thank you, Bob. Thank you all for joining me here today. This very somber adventure. You did, Manny. I'm glad you made it back to enjoy most of this. Went out of your way to be here for this stream. I know you did, man. Kick-ass good time. And we really did get to stretch it out and soak it in. I don't think any of that felt drawn out. It felt just right. Sorry people raced through this in 2 hours, because we spent nearly 6 and at least a solid 5 and enjoyed every minute of it. Manny, you played this on release day. What a thing. You read the reviews, bought it right away. I don't recall if I had read anything about this game other than seeing the name in passing until Bob brought it up. Certainly made quite an impression on me. But I think Molly and Calvin and Sam and Walter, that branch of the tree, more than any others, just kicking the family jewels. Adam Baum, thanks. It's been fun just watching. Thanks for joining us. That goes for all of you. Everyone lurking out there. Yes, Chronic in 2017, as Rango said when she posted it. Excuse me, when he posted it, it was she died in childbirth. So she gave birth to her son. Did not live through that. Rango just wanted to say that this is by far and away the best stream I've ever watched. Strong words. Much needed break in this time of exams. Thanks DBA Bob. Thanks Entropic J for the stream. Rango, thanks for joining us. I'm so glad you enjoyed it that much. Jake, I'm glad to sit through a game like this with you great people. I J-love everyone. Cheers, man. Did you just assume my gender? Thanks, Ringo. Good when you're off to work. You saw Kemi dropped in earlier, didn't you? Good one, she did make it by. Don't work too hard, man. Another game you might enjoy down the road is Rime. You're playing it right now. I've started to catch a little bit about Rime. Mostly because of the whole DRM thing, but that looks pretty short, too. And very worth playing. Tyler, you just caught the last 2 hours, but very interesting indeed. Dragoon! Jay is the fucking best. Well, thank you. Thank you for saying so. I'd say the same of all of you. Made this a very special place for me. This was a most excellent stream. Very different. Very different. Rango, can we get an iPhone wallpaper with the logo? Come up with something. Chew on that. Was Milton the one who worked at the cannery? No, that was Lewis. You can see him holding a fish there. Mercenary. Milton disappeared. Edie built his castle, that small tower. And he painted. A flip book made it look like he disappeared into one of his own paintings, but really he just disappeared. Noah Snake, you're gonna go buy this game right now. Enjoy. Enjoy. Making customers wait is the biggest complaint I can make for you, Jay. Yeah, you can blame it on me. That's okay, Manny. Bowser. Well. We need a 6-hour recap stream tomorrow of just sitting and dealing with this. Yeah, I imagine a few people are going to come away from this reeling. I will a bit myself. Wild to think that we filled almost the entire stream with this game. I'm being told it was only going to be 2 hours. I'm looking at who we might drop in on. Who can we drop in on? Without shaking everyone up. Like, do we drop in on someone playing Friday the 13th? I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it. And think of all these games people are playing, and I just go, it's gonna be such a shock. Shock and awe. Well, I mean, people are doing things. Justice as Boswick is playing Friday the 13th. Rage Mage is playing Dead Cells because I can't do anything else. Stevie Ray Vaughan's doing some creative paint-overs and fan art. Yeah, I don't know where to take us. Maybe we'll just let the auto host do its thing. I don't really have the mind or heart to take us from this to something else. We'll let the tech do it. Good night, family. Tyler, good night. Much love to the Entropic family far and wide. See you all on the flip side. Tomorrow we're going to be playing Little Nightmares. Very different game than this. We're going to play, we're finally going to get to the Ring City Dark Souls DLC this week. If it took me 5 hours to get through a 2-hour game, maybe we won't do Little Nightmares in one shot. We might need tomorrow and Thursday, but after we finish Little Nightmares, we'll be on to the Ringed City. So this is going to be a very dark week, going from Edith Finch to Little Nightmares, where globulous creatures are trying to eat us, on to Dark Souls, where everything is trying to see us dead. Thank you all for the excellent company. Thank you, DBA Bob, for suggesting the game. Fun but dark game, Hot Dogs. I'm glad you made it, Hot Dogs. I was wondering how you were doing. All right, good night, everyone. Good night. I'll see you next time.